Is this another taboo topic that I see? Welcome back, Goblins, and thanks for tuning in. My name is Beige, and I am the default alter here at the Aether system. So, we've established that alters can be different species than human. If not, alters can be different species than human. They can be animals, mythical creatures, robots, aliens, inanimate objects, or anything else a traumatized brain can think of. And sometimes the trauma is so outlandish, the brain creates alters to cope with that situation specifically, sometimes creating an alter as outlandish as the trauma itself in order to get through it. The brain does not follow the rules of the real world. It follows what will help it survive. These alters aren't created to be fun, quirky, or to make someone's system stand out. They're created for a reason. Reasons which are no laughing matter. We were drugged for a solid amount of our abuse. A 3-year-old on drugs isn't going to have your average Bob, Joe, and Mary Sue as alters. Normal people aren't equipped to handle such things, but other things may be. A wolf with its eyes scratched out so we couldn't see the bad things was created to cope with things, such as the dogs involved with the trauma. And no two children would cope with the trauma in exactly the same way. Humanity doesn't work like that. Humans adapt to their surroundings, and sometimes adapting means becoming something else. No, a human body isn't going to suddenly develop vampire powers, but it can change the thought process and mindset. By processing the event or memory through a different thought process and or mindset, the brain may be able to cope better. When it comes to survival, the brain will do anything it takes to get through it, and sometimes bringing in something otherworldly is the only way to cope. So, no, this isn't for fun. This isn't an attempt to be quirky. This isn't something to make our system stand out from the rest. This is what someone's brain had to do in order to make it out alive. And there are a lot of systems who wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the unique alters of their systems. So on a more cheerful note, I wanted to show you some of our alters which many may find odd or even off-putting. This guy. He hasn't really picked a name yet. We kind of just refer to him as Big Teeth Guy. Or like Big Teeth. Yeah, we're still finding a name for him. We haven't had a lot of communication with him, but he's in Corvid's subsystem, the tower subsystem. He lives in that tower of hers. Then Corvid herself. She's a very important part of the system. She interacts with a lot of alters, a lot of history with a lot of alters, and yeah, she plays a big role in the inner workings and everything. She runs the dungeon. Her eyes are completely black and she has chains that grow out of her. Usually her back, and sometimes she walks around on them like a spider. It's really interesting to just have images of her just projected into your thoughts. And she's like the Grudge sometimes, but we love her. We make jokes about her being like the Grudge all the time, and it's a joke among our system. It's not us insulting her, I promise. She consents to these and makes Grudge jokes herself. Then Fenrir. Everyone loves Fenrir. He is a large wolf, and he turns human during full moons. He's a reverse werewolf. But he's not a very common fronter, believe it or not. Then we also have Lich, who is a skeleton in a cloak, but he's mentally like 15, and he loves rap music. Totally not what you'd expect. He's just absolute, spunky, kind of rambunctious, energetic teenage guy, but he's a skeleton. And then we've got Frankie. Oh, he's interesting, alright. He's in charge of our carousel, which used to be a really horrible place. He's a protector persecutor, and he's got legs like Coraline's mother. And he's got a lot of attitude. but we're learning to coexist with him well. It's getting better. Thank goodness. Then we've got Bad Wolf. He's a little bit smaller than Fenrir, but almost nonverbal and quick to anger. He's like a tan color as well. His eyes are scratched out like the other trauma holders in the system, but he's very smart. He's not blind. Last year, someone tried to take advantage of us by triggering him out, but joke's on them, because 1, it didn't work, and 2, Bad Wolf is smart. He's able to access memories and view the front, so he's not completely blind, and he's not one to be messed with. You can't trick him easily. And lastly, I wanted to share the Ghost Train. We've talked about this one a few times before. We've also heard that inanimate objects are alters that have been convinced that they are inanimate objects, which that sounds like exactly something that would have happened to us and exactly the reason why an alter would be like that in our system. Oof. Yeah. So its pronouns have been weird. We've started using he, him pronouns, which feels better. They, them feels a little bit iffy, but it feels more like he, him. We get kind of a slight imagery of like a silhouette kind of casted over the train nowadays when he's like thinking in emotions like he kind of does. And yeah, there's a train in the inner world, if you haven't heard, that goes around in the forests with tracks appearing and disappearing about 5 meters in front of and behind. It's a very ghostly kind of teal on both the tracks and the train itself, and there's kind of a teal fog that surrounds it just a little bit. And I mean both the train and the tracks. It's all really foggy. Yeah, turns out the train is an alter. He can front and he may be able to speak, which is still in the process. And he can drive. He can drive very, very well. Honestly, one of the best drivers in the system. Very cautious and can see surprisingly well, despite the fact that we all have kind of not ideal vision. And yeah, we may put him on the channel at one point. We caught a driving video on Acrylic's phone, but we have to get it over to our phone somehow, or just retake it altogether. Haven't decided yet. I will decide soon. So yes, alters can look like anything. The brain doesn't follow the rules of the real world, especially not a traumatized child's brain. Unique alters are created because every situation is unique, and they're just as important to their system as any of the other alters. So don't go feeling invalidated if people say your alters can't look like that, because they can, and they do. Your alters look like that. So people can't tell you that they don't if they already look like that. Like, guys, they're gonna be like this regardless of what I put on the internet. Shout out today goes to Autistic Multiple Life. They have a really awesome channel and outlook on life and a really awesome story to tell. Yeah, give them a look for more DID content if you're interested in that, because they're really awesome. So yeah, shout out to Autistic Multiple Life. Always good to find another system with autism. It's very nice to not feel alone. I know it's kind of a common thing, but you know, sometimes you just feel alone with DID, and that's okay, but it's always important to try to remember that you're not alone. There are tons of people out there that share experiences that you'd never expect. So having weird alters is definitely not something to be ashamed of. I'm gonna try to erase that stigma, because apparently there's stigma forming around it. I'm just gonna not let that go. Alters do not have to look like regular people. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for subscribing. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe to become a goblin, and ring the notification bell if you want to know what we're doing. It doesn't automatically notify you what we do if you just hit subscribe. So yeah, go for that if you want. If you haven't already, check out our description if you want some more links to other things. And also, the link to Autistic Multiple Life's channel is going to be down there as well. So thanks again for watching. Please take care of yourselves, drink some water, and we will see you all in the next video. I keep just sitting in front of this door and just filming instead of filming in literally the place we worked so hard to put together to film in. And I think this is just going to be a thing because this is a comfortable carpet. My question, should we do something to this door? Should we paint it, put things on it, try to cover it up? Comment below what you think, because I'm thinking painting it. I'm thinking about painting this thing, because this thing is just janky.